Welcome to Neon Primer GTM, hosted by Neon Aliens AI. We unpack the strategy and systems behind modern go-to-market, how companies move from idea to traction to scale.
Last year, Linktree analyzed their traffic, and honestly, they found something completely staggering. Out of 1.3 billion monthly clicks generated by creators, 20% went straight to retail and e-commerce sites.
Wow. Yeah, that is just an absolute tsunami of buyer intent.
Right, but here is the crazy part. If you look at the people actually driving all that traffic, the creators themselves, so many of them are just totally exhausted. They're staring at a blank screen and barely scraping by on part-time income.
Oh, absolutely. There is this massive disconnect between the value they are generating and, the actual money ending up in their own pockets.
Exactly, and that disconnect is exactly why we are here. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are pulling apart this massive, incredibly comprehensive new research document. It's titled Best Go-to-Market Strategies for Social Media Creators.
Which is such a needed resource right now because the creator economy has fundamentally shifted.
It really has. So our mission today is to just cut completely through the noise, all the algorithm updates, the toxic hustle culture. We are going to extract the ultimate playbook for 2026.
Yeah, we're looking at the underlying mechanics of how the most successful creators are taking these fleeting microscopic attention spans and turning them into durable, reliable revenue.
So if you are listening to this right now, whether you are an aspiring creator, maybe a professional trying to establish authority in your industry, or just someone fascinated by the sheer economics of the internet, this deep dive is your shortcut.
Your shortcut to understanding how the modern internet actually functions,
Yeah.
right? And the very first thing we need to do is just throw out the old blueprint entirely.
Completely. Because the old blueprint was just based on hoping the algorithm would save you. Post 3 times a day, chase every trending audio track, just pure volume.
Right, the old content treadmill. But the data shows the winners, the people capturing that e-commerce wave, they aren't doing that endless hustle. They are building highly structured systems that look, honestly, almost identical to a lean tech startup.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of that. The new baseline they outline is a strict 3-layer system.
Yes, the 3 layers. You need one primary discovery platform, one owned relationship layer, and one monetization stack.
And the order of those is incredibly important.
Oh, crucial, because the whole system fundamentally changes depending on the psychology of your specific audience.
Let's break that down for the listeners. Say you are a B2C creator, business to consumer. You are dealing in these really high velocity, visually stimulating environments, right?
Right, exactly. So your playbook there uses short form video. Think TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts as that discovery layer. The psychological trigger there is impulse or just immediate entertainment.
So you capture that quick attention, and then you have to immediately funnel it to the owned layer.
Right? Like a curated storefront or a lifestyle newsletter. Somewhere, you control the access.
But if you pivot to B2B, business to business, the entire psychological mechanism shifts.
Completely. A corporate buyer or a professional who's seeking career advancement, they do not make purchasing decisions based on a 7-second dance trend, right? Or some quick hook.
No, of course not. They're looking to mitigate risk.
Exactly. They need to trust your expertise deeply before they invest a dime. So the discovery layer for B2B has to slow down intentionally.
Which means relying on platforms that actually reward depth, like LinkedIn and YouTube.
Yeah, a really complex, well-researched YouTube explainer proves you know what you're talking about. And from there, you move them to the owned layer, which for B2B is almost always an email list.
Because email gives you those consistent, repeated touch points you need to close a high-value deal. I always like to think of platform algorithms like a massive ocean current.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right, because you can ride a viral TikTok or a huge LinkedIn post, and that current will take you far and fast. But if you don't have a tether, like a harbor you actually own, you are building a mansion on rented land.
You're just going to get swept out to sea the moment the current changes direction.
Exactly. You have zero control over when a platform decides to throttle your reach. The platform is just the billboard on the highway. Your newsletter is the living room where you own the deed.
Which is why the discovery platform is purely an engine for capturing raw attention. The owned layer is where you actually capture the relationship.
Right. But capturing that relationship requires a totally different approach to how we even generate ideas in the first place, doesn't it?
It does. Look at how most creators operate. They approach content sequentially. They Pick a platform, observe the culture there, try to mimic it, build an audience, and then scramble to figure out what they can possibly sell to those people.
Which usually leads to burnout. But the research shows the creators with the highest profit margins do this entirely in reverse.
Yes, the reverse engineering framework. They use 5 linked decisions.
Okay, let's walk through those. Number 1 is define the audience.
Right. And number 2 is define the message. But the report specifically defines message as solving a repeatable problem.
Which is a huge distinction. If you don't solve a repeatable problem, you just have an audience that likes your personality. And personality is notoriously difficult to monetize.
Exactly. Then number 3 is build a content system around that problem. Number 4, choose the channel mix. And finally, number 5, build the offer ladder.
So you completely map out the destination before you ever even turn on a camera.
You have to. And that reverse engineering directly leads to this concept in the report called the hero idea.
Ah, yes, the hero idea. Let's dig into that.
So once you know exactly what problem you are solving, you really only need to solve it once a week. The strategy here is native packaging.
Meaning you create one flagship asset, let's say a deeply researched 10-minute YouTube video.
Right. The core intellectual property is locked in. Then you change the wrapper. You take that core insight, but you adjust the pacing and the visual hook for an Instagram reel. You strip it down to text for a Threads post. You alter the metadata and the thumbnail.
Okay, wait. I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
If I am sitting at my desk and I'm re-editing a video for pacing, rewriting the first 3 seconds for a new hook, grafting entirely different captions, and researching new metadata for 5 different platforms, I mean, how is that saving me any time?
I know. It sounds like a lot.
It sounds like exactly the kind of burnout treadmill we're trying to avoid.
Well, it feels like more work mechanically, yes. But we have to distinguish between mechanical work and cognitive load.
Okay, explain the difference.
The single greatest energy drain for a creator is the blank page. It is the sheer cognitive friction of ideation. Trying to invent 5 distinct, brilliant concepts from scratch every single week is what causes burnout.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So the hero idea preserves your core creative energy. You do the heavy lifting of thinking and solving the audience's problem once.
Right, and then changing the wrapper is just a mechanical translation process.
Exactly. It ensures you are speaking the native dialect of each platform's algorithm without having to invent a whole new language every single time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. The intellectual heavy lifting is done, and you are just dressing the idea up appropriately for whatever room it's walking into.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So now you have this perfectly packaged piece of content out in the wild. It respects the YouTube algorithm, it respects the X algorithm, but how do you actually ensure the platform serves it to new people?
Because a perfectly packaged video doesn't matter if it's sitting in an empty room.
Right, exactly.
You have to tap into compounding audience tactics. The platforms are no longer just rewarding these random viral spikes. They are actively building search engines and rewarding conversational depth.
Like TikTok, they are heavily pushing search-aware content right now.
Yes. They integrated a tool called Creator Search Insights directly into the app. It literally shows you the exact queries users are typing in, and it highlights where there is a deficit of videos answering those questions.
So when you fulfill a specific search query, your video stops being this piece of ephemeral media that just dies in 48 hours.
Right, but becomes utility. It sits in a library and accrues views for months.
That is so smart. And then there are the mechanics of conversation velocity, which are completely shifting how platforms distribute content, too.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Threads. They recently reported that replies account for almost half of all the views on their platform.
Half! That's insane. And on X and LinkedIn, the algorithm actively suppresses accounts that just drop a link to their newsletter and log off.
Because the algorithm measures the velocity of the back-and-forth interaction in the first hour. You are essentially penalized for treating a social feed like a broadcast antenna.
You have to treat it like a live dinner party.
Exactly. And while you are engaging in that dinner party conversation, you have to be incredibly strategic about testing new concepts.
Which brings us to trial reels. The platforms offer some really sophisticated ways to experiment now.
Yeah, Instagram's internal case studies highlight creators like Alea Pilgrim. She used trial reels to test entirely new content styles without exposing them to her existing followers.
And the results were wild. She reached roughly 60,000 new followers off a single experiment. But I have a question about this.
Sure. What is it?
Why would you hide a video from the people who already decided they like you? I mean, if I spent 3 years building an audience of hardcore fans, my instinct is to blast every single thing I make directly to them.
It's a natural instinct,
Yeah.
but it comes down to algorithmic feedback loops. Let's say your core audience follows you for vegan cooking tutorials,
Okay.
and then you decide you want to test a video about personal finance. If you serve that finance video to your cooking fans, the vast majority of them will swipe past it within the first second, simply because it's not what they signed up for.
Ah, and the algorithm sees that swipe.
Right, the algorithm registers that immediate swipe as a signal of low quality. It assumes the video is terrible, it kills the reach, and your experiment fails. Not because the video was bad, but because it was served to the wrong test group.
Wow. So trial reels isolate the variable,
Exactly. They bypass your core audience entirely, allowing you to find a new pocket of users without contaminating the engagement metrics of your primary page.
which perfectly illustrates this massive shift in what we actually need to measure. The research makes it painfully clear that vanity metrics, like follower counts and total view counts, are functionally useless for predicting business health.
They really are. The era of the influencer with 1 million followers who can't even sell 10 t-shirts is very real.
So what are the key performance indicators that actually matter today?
You want to look at depth of engagement, watch time, retention, saves, replies, and most crucially, revenue per 1,000 qualified impressions.
Because you don't want 1 million random eyeballs. You want 10,000 highly qualified professionals who actually care about the problem you solve.
Precisely. And once you have that deeply qualified, high-trust audience, then you can begin to capture the value you've created.
But the timing is everything here.
Oh, it is. Monetizing too early or with the wrong product shatters that trust instantly.
It's a lot like dating. Pitching a high-ticket physical product to a new follower who just scrolled past your 7-second video, that's like proposing marriage on a first date.
Yes. Or asking someone to co-sign a mortgage because you both reached for the same apple at the grocery store is a massive mismatch of intent.
You have to pace the relationship. And that is exactly how the monetization ladder functions.
The rule is simple. Early on, you monetize existing intent. You do not try to monetize your aspirational business model.
So how does a ladder actually break down?
It works in 3 distinct phases. In the early stage, you act as a conduit. You use sponsorships and affiliate links because your audience already wants to buy things. You're just pointing them in the right direction.
Affiliate links are basically just grabbing a coffee on a first date.
Exactly. Low risk. Then, in the mid-stage, once you have established profound credibility, you can monetize trust directly.
Through things like recurring subscriptions, premium newsletters, or digital products.
Right. And only in the late stage, when you have massive cultural capital, do you attempt to monetize your brand IP through physical products or complex software businesses.
Now, we have to inject a serious warning here about platform payouts.
Yes, please. This is so important.
Ad revenue sharing, creator funds, the pennies you get for views, those cannot be the foundation of your business.
Never. If you read the terms of service on X, they explicitly state they can modify or cancel revenue sharing at any given moment.
And TikTok completely scrapped its original creator fund and replaced it with an entirely different rewards program overnight.
Building your financial life around a platform's mood swings is incredibly dangerous. That money is a bonus. It is upside. It is not structural revenue.
Structural revenue comes from a flawless match between what you create and what your audience naturally intends to do next.
Let's look at some case studies from the document. Miss Louie and Krista McGowan on YouTube are prime examples of this early-stage intent match.
Oh, the YouTube shopping data on them is wild. Miss Louie earns 40 to 50% of her total income simply through embedded shopping features.
Because her content is fundamentally about product curation, styling, and decision support. By the time a viewer finishes her video, the psychological desire to purchase is already fully formed.
Right. Clicking the native YouTube buy button is just the frictionless conclusion to the video. Then you see a different mechanism with someone like Keith Lee on TikTok.
Keith Lee is fascinating. His entire brand architecture is built on radical, uncompromising honesty when he reviews restaurants.
Because the audience implicitly trusts that his palate cannot be bought, that trust transfers instantly to the businesses he reviews. I mean, one of his viral videos drove $100,000 in sales for a chocolate company called Coco Asante in less than 2 weeks.
And notice, he isn't selling his own chocolate. He is monetizing the raw power of trust transfer.
So that's the early stage, then you move up the ladder to the mid and late stages.
Take Marquise Brownlee. He is Arguably one of the biggest tech voices on the planet. He has massive public reach, but he uses Discord server subscriptions to monetize his deepest superfans.
He offers tiers from like $2.99 all the way up to almost $200, and he keeps 90% of that revenue.
Because he understands that superfans don't just want more public videos. They want proximity. They are paying for access to him and a curated community of enthusiasts. He is monetizing intimacy, not volume.
And then the ultimate late-stage execution is Emma Chamberlain launching Chamberlain Coffee.
It sounds like a generic influencer cash grab on paper, but it
Right.
worked brilliantly.
It really did, because it matched a deeply ingrained audience habit. Her audience was already conditioned to watch her vlog while she made her morning coffee. It was an authentic daily ritual.
Right, so by selling the coffee beans, she physically inserted her brand into her audience's real-world morning routine. It was a seamless transition from digital observation to physical habit.
But listen, you can have the most perfectly matched coffee brand or the most brilliantly structured Discord server in the world. If the engine running it is built on duct tape, the entire system will shatter the moment you hit scale.
Absolutely. The back-end operations have to be just as deliberate as the front-end content.
Let's look under the hood at how these businesses actually operate. The research outlines a very lean 6-layer tech stack. You do not just throw software at the wall.
Right. The flow goes like this. First, capture and editing tools to create the asset. Second, publishing and scheduling to distribute it.
Third is audience ownership, which usually means your email service provider.
Fourth is commerce and payments to actually process the money. Fifth, analytics to measure the results. And finally, operations tools to keep the systems organized.
Okay, but hold on. I see so many gurus out there telling new creators they need the most expensive enterprise-grade analytics suites and automated CRM software from day one just to look professional.
That is a massive trap. The report explicitly warns against premature optimization. Buying complex software before you have validated that anyone actually wants your offer is just burning capital.
So in the early phases, your tech stack should be narrow and scrappy.
Very scrappy. You do not need a massive sales platform to sell a $50 digital workshop to 15 people. You validate the human demand first.
And you only upgrade the software when your manual processes literally start breaking under the weight of your success.
Exactly.
The other thing that will break your business immediately is ignoring legal compliance. We are way past the Wild West era of the internet.
The FTC is not messing around anymore. They are enforcing strict rules on disclosures.
And the platforms themselves are baking compliance directly into the user interface to protect themselves. Like, TikTok forces you to use a paid partnership toggle. YouTube has that mandatory promotion box that overlays text on your video.
You cannot obscure your sponsorships with a tiny hashtag buried in the comments anymore. It won't fly.
And that legal maturity absolutely extends to intellectual property as well.
Yes. There is a pervasive myth in the creator space regarding fair use. People casually throw around the word transformative, assuming that if they just re-edit a clip from a movie or pitch shift a copyrighted song, they are legally protected.
Which is incredibly risky. The U.S. Copyright Office is incredibly clear on this. Copyright exists automatically the moment a work is fixed in a tangible medium.
Using someone else's fixed work as the foundation of your highly monetized video, just because you added a snappy caption, is a profound legal vulnerability.
So assuming your tech stack is lean, your legal compliance is bulletproof, and the revenue is actually flowing, eventually you are going to hit a ceiling on your own time.
Which brings us to the final piece of the 2026 playbook. Understanding how to hire.
Who is the very first person you bring into a solo creator business?
You hire for throughput, not for strategy.
Throughput, meaning clearing the pipes so your raw creative energy can flow faster?
Exactly. The first hire is almost always a freelance video editor, an audio engineer, or a virtual assistant to handle the content repurposing we talked about earlier.
You are buying back the hours you spend doing mechanical work so you can dedicate that time strictly to generating those hero ideas.
The most dangerous mistake a creator makes is trying to outsource their strategic thinking or their core message early on. Look at Justin Welsh, for example.
Oh, he is basically the patron saint of this lean scaling model. He is the ultimate B2B case study.
He really is. He built a massively diversified business model. Consulting, sponsorships, digital courses, subscriptions, and he did it essentially with 0 full-time employees.
He completely productized his expertise. This culminated in a launch for his program, the Creator MBA, that brought in $1.5 million in less than a week, alongside 91,000 new subscribers.
And he didn't use a massive payroll or a complex paid ad engine to do it. He used the exact system we're talking about today.
His success is the ultimate proof of concept for the reverse-engineered approach.
He defined a hyper-specific audience of solopreneurs, built a discovery engine on LinkedIn, captured the relationship via email, and moved his audience up a monetization ladder perfectly matched to their desire for professional independence.
And he kept his operational overhead incredibly low the entire time, which really brings all of these seemingly disparate pieces, the algorithms, the psychology, the software, into one unified perspective.
It does.
The ultimate takeaway from this research is that treating content creation like a performance will lead to burnout. The only go-to-market strategy that survives the algorithm shifts is building a compounding system.
You need discovery to capture attention, owned channels to capture the relationship, and a paced ladder to capture the value.
So look at your own output. Are you just shoveling coal into the platform's furnace, or are you actually capturing the beat to power your own engine?
The underlying technology will continuously evolve, and the algorithms will rewrite their rules every 6 months. But the fundamental mechanics of human trust, audience psychology, and systematic operations remain completely static.
Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over, something that isn't explicitly in the research, but honestly feels like the inevitable next step.
Well, what's that?
Well, if creators are successfully building these robust, diversified machines that rely on evergreen search traffic, bulletproof standard operating procedures, and productized trust, how long until we see a massive wave of faceless creator holding companies?
Oh, wow.
Right. Imagine a future where the original creator who built the audience steps back completely, becoming a shadow CEO. The face on the camera changes, but the lean systems, the email lists, and the monetization ladders run on absolute autopilot, generating revenue while the founder is entirely offline.
It is the natural evolution of the industry. Once you successfully transition from a purely personality-driven hamster wheel to a true operational blueprint, the business transcends the individual. It can finally stand on its own.
A fascinating place to leave it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
If you got value from this, share it with someone building something real. And if you want to stay sharp on go-to-market, follow Neon Primer GTM. We'll be back with more.